Hey everyone, we are doing another pandemic live stream. Hope you're doing well. Be careful of those running around today. Watch out, because after all, it is the revenge of the 5th. So we got to be careful and take care of ourselves. Today I want to start off with the longsword, and we're going to move from the longsword to the lightsaber. What I want to focus on with this is the use of your edges and the movement both against cuts and thrusts, and how your edges will affect the way that you can manipulate where their attack is coming in. Because we're going to be doing this against thrusts and cuts, some of the attacks will be one-handed, some of them will be two-handed. What I want everybody to remember is that the tool doesn't care about true edge or false edge, or long edge or short edge. It's all in relation to my body, the way I hold it, and the way I'm moving my arms that dictate true or false edge. Whether it's a sword, a stick, a cudgel, or a lightsaber, these rules will remain true. So with the sword, the first two things I want to work on are going to be a cut from my opponent. He's going to give me an overhand cut from right to left, so he's going to give me a fendente-esque, but he's just going to be swinging at me. So I'm not going to move to start off with.
Okay, you can check distance here.
Okay, so check again.
Checking.
Are you happy with that?
Good enough.
All right. So when this comes in, I'm going to move to the side and drive it down, so then I can just drag across. So if we can do that again. This is true edge, and then a cut across with my true edge. So I have the rotation of my hands. Because I'm using true edge to true edge, I am, with the sword, attacking his flat. Let's do it again. Let's hold on contact.
Okay.
Hold. So I'm attacking over the top of his sword to drive that down, turning my hands over, and then just walking past for my cut. This can be done against his body, his throat, or his arms. Let's do it again. Go ahead and check distance.
Checking distance. Okay.
If I want to attack his arms, do it again. I'll step back and just take his arms. So that way, even if I'm, check the measure.
Check and measure.
Even if I'm slow, go ahead and do it again. I'm still protecting myself there. Go ahead and I'm going to counterattack.
Okay.
Into his arms. So I can move either direction, forwards or backwards, with my true edge. And I know this is a review for you guys, but the true edge of your sword, or in the German tradition, long edge, short edge, they're named that because of the distance that you can reach. Can I put this on your shoulder? If I extend out with my true edge, I can make contact with my opponent. My long edge is in line with my pinky, and I can reach out and make that touch. If, however, I use my false edge or my short edge, which is in line with my thumb, I lose distance and I lose measure. So I have long distance, short distance, or in the Italian tradition, true distance, and I can hit him from out here, or false distance, and I can't hit him unless I close in and I physically move into a closer distance. So once again, long edge, true edge is in line with my pinky. False edge is in line with my thumb. And another way to think about it is false edge is always going to be the edge closest to the webbing of your thumb. That doesn't mean that the edge has to run in line with your edge, but it has to be closer to your thumb. So if I've got a sword and I'm holding it like this, right now, the false edge is in line with the webbing of my thumb. But if I turn it flat, This edge is closer to the webbing of my thumb, making that my false edge, and this, therefore, my true edge. And that's going to affect several things. Moving from the sword, we're now going to move into the lightsaber. I'll take that. So with the lightsaber, because there's no quillins, you might have a suba, but there's no guard, so, and it's round, so there is no true edge or false edge in the tool. However, if I follow the same rules, true edge is in line with my pinky, false edge is in line with my thumb. Even though it's round, true edge is in line with my pinky, false edge is in line with my thumb. So if I do that same technique, he's coming in to hit me. This is the blow coming in. If I step across, I can just drag it across his body. If I do the other version, go ahead and check measure.
Check and measure.
And I do a pass back, I can still strike his hands. So the first drill I want to work on is that, where we're stepping back. That being said, be aware that stepping back, generally, while it takes you out of range of their attack, it's also going to take you out of range for your attack. So be very judicious in when you use the action of stepping back in your defense. So let's go ahead and do it again. Check distance.
Checking distance.
There's the blow coming in. I'm going to use my true edge, which is with my pinky, as I step back, and then counter cut across his arms. So go ahead, and this time I want you to defend yourself.
Yes, sir.
So check measure.
Checking measure.
He does the action, and I can still catch his lead arm. If I move in, go ahead and do it again. Check measure.
Okay. Check and measure.
Go ahead. And defend yourself on this one too.
Okay.
And I can hit him in the face. But sometimes they're going to start up high, and they're going to come down, and they're going to throw one-handed with their left hand to get that greater reach. So check measure. No, from there, so you can hit me two-handed. And then when you do that again, one-handed, and I'm still in measure. So I need to be aware of that so that when I do it, go ahead, I can still cut through. You'll notice when I did that, I wasn't cutting to the ground. Go ahead and do that again, please. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing this because by the time I get up, he can get out of the way. So all of my cuts stay just outside of his silhouette. If I go any further than just outside of his silhouette, I've given him too much time. Now it's getting really loud out here. So let's stand here for me.
How's here?
That way, just a little bit. Not that much. Perfect. Go ahead and give me that blow. I'm not going to move. Good. So this is as far as I move it. Go ahead, do it again. And you can see where my point is, I think. I'm just outside his arm. Go ahead and do it again. And I'm just here so I can cut right through. So let's go here. Same thing, check measure.
Check measure.
Ready. I haven't taken myself out of range of his body. I want to make sure that I'm not, do it again. I'm check measure. No, you can do one-handed. Because look how much closer he is on that. But when he's two-handed, do it again. Now go one-handed. No, go two-handed. Now one-handed. Look at that extension that he gets. Significant amount of distance, which means if I step back here, I'm still in range. So I cannot afford to rely only on my footwork. As the attack comes in, everything I do, go ahead and stand there for a moment, never goes lower than his elbow. and never goes more than just outside his body silhouette. I don't want to be here. Everything needs to stay this close. So go ahead and two-handed. Then back and do it again. I'm not going to move. One-handed. Good. So when he does it and I counter, I still got all of that there. Often they'll cut up one-handed as well, so they're doing that kind of action or that kind of action, trying to snipe under the wrists. And that's where we get into true edge and false edge being very important to us. If they're cutting up below, and I try to do that same thing, so that's the blow that's coming in. Go and do that again. I'm going to get hit anyways. This happens a lot. Go and hit me. That's what's going to happen because I'm using my true edge. Go and do that again. Hit me. And it just cuts right in. So this is where we want to use our false edge. Do it again. Then I'm lined up. Let me show you what just happened there. Go ahead and do the hit. I'm not going to move. That's the blow that's coming in. Go ahead and do it again when I say hold freeze. Hold. No, bring your sword a little bit more. More. Hold. If I'm leading with my true edge, I'm in line with him. Continue. And I actually don't put an impediment in his way. Recover. However, as soon as I turn my hand over, I make contact, and you can hear that. So if I use my true edge, which is what we normally want to do, oh, we have something. It's loud, but the mics are working. Great, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, what is it with productive people? What's going on with that? So, go and hit me. I put my hand right into the way and he's hitting me on the knuckles. Go and hit me again. I'm not going to move this time. Great. Do it again. Then I can cover that and just come right through. Now at that point, you'll notice I took one hand off as well. My hand came up here and that's just old training from rapier. And I can't help it. Anytime I do anything with one hand, this other hand comes up automatically. You don't need to. It's just what I do. So I can do one-handed or two-handed. Do it again. And then cut through. Or one-handed. And then cut through. And then I can just drive on in and make a pretty little hole right in his chest.
Oh.
Oh. So the next drill I want you to work on is against rising blows. So give me a hit.
Mm-hmm. Two hands, one hand.
One hand.
Okay.
Good. Do it again. So this is the action coming in. Now you're going almost more lateral.
Okay.
You don't want to get that close to me. You're just sniping me.
Okay.
Yeah, you're sniping me. So I'm here. That's the blow that's coming in. There's my false edge because I'm leading with my thumb and I'm already lined up. So our timing is this. Do it again. I step into the blow and I'm using that step that not only displaces his attack, but puts me in a better position to be able to hit him. This time, I just want you to get out of the way.
Okay.
So I'm
snipe and move.
Snipe and move.
Yes, sir.
And I can just follow him. Let's move back this way a little bit. Go and do it again.
Okay.
Try going that way.
Yeah.
So either way, I can get him with my point because I too can take one of my hands off. I'm defending two-handed, attacking one-handed. If I want to make it a one-handed attack, that's where we're going to move into the techniques that are more akin to our side sword actions. So if we'll do that again.
Same motion. Action.
Same motion. And I'll just follow him in. Go and do that again and get out of the way.
Yes, sir.
And because I've got, now do this. As soon as I set you aside, hit me.
Yes, sir.
Do it again. Keep going. See how I'm setting that aside? Boom. So go ahead and hit me.
Not gonna.
So I can use the one-handed action like a side sword or the two-handed actions like the longsword. Understanding how to switch between the two is going to give you a huge amount of strength in your actions. Now, so Jay, not sure, Jeff Frame 55. Can you teach me striking in true time with your swords as opposed to false time? Now, when you refer to that, are you referring to the movement of my body and true time with the sword, and that the sword moves first, or that the body moves first? I'm not quite sure I quite understand your question. So let me know, and I will work on that with you as well. And then David, is a tuta volta to the left you were doing on the? Is it a tuta volta? Okay, is it a tuta volta that you were doing on the previous drill? Okay, yes. Tuta volta is one of my favorite steps, and it does so much, and it changes the angle just enough that it gets you behind your sword. And then sword first is what you wanted to know. When I was doing those actions, my sword was actually moving before my foot. So let's do that again. So on the two-handed, so give me the blow underneath. So that's coming in. I'm here, go real slow. This is where I'm going. So I'm making contact. My foot lands just before my blade contacts his blade, but my blade is moving first. Do it again. Oh, that was false time. Do that again. At speed, cut through and hit me.
Yes, sir.
Then I drove it into my knee because I moved my foot first. Let's do that again. Same thing. Slow.
Same speed. Okay.
Slow. And I drive it into my knee. However, if I move my blade just a touch sooner, not faster, but just a touch sooner,
Same speed.
same speed. And let me use my false edge, not my true edge. It misses my knee completely, but my blade is still moving first. Now let's do it at speed.
Okay.
So my blade is moving first. It's just there's such a small delay that it doesn't look like it. And I can get away with that because moving the mass of my body is going to take so much more time than the mass of my hand or my arm. And I've got the extra hinge of my wrists and my lever in the action. So let's do that again. And
Okay, same depth.
yep, but at speed. I want you to check measure.
Okay.
Cool. Now, go ahead and do it, but faster.
Faster.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay, that speed.
Ooh, that was good. Yeah, do it again.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Nice.
Let's do that one more time. I got hit on the elbow.
Okay.
And the reason I got hit on the elbow is I did this, not that. Do it again.
Okay, ready?
Just like that.
Okay.
Oh, I moved too fast. Let's do that again.
All right, ready? Oh, there it was.
So with using the false edge, you can move sooner, get your point into place sooner than their attack because of that rotation. And I'm going to have the mark on my bicep to prove it. So my blade is moving first, but it's such a short delay that it doesn't look like it. Did that answer your question about true time? If I'm doing it against the head, give me a slow cut at my head. I'm not going to move. So that's the blow coming in. If I do true edge, go ahead, tuta volta to drive it down and then cut in, or step back to cut in. Now, check measure.
Check and measure.
Go for my shoulder.
Okay.
Because I want you to hit me. So check measure. No, you can do it to Cindy.
Okay.
There we go. Do it again, check measure.
Check and measure.
So that's the blow that's coming in. Now, faster. Now, faster. That was with my true edge. Now with my false edge. Let's do that again, faster.
Sure. Okay.
So here's what's happening. Now slow. And then he just kind of falls onto my point. And that's where moving with the blade first doesn't necessarily look like it, but it is moving first. Yeah, it's in 1617, there was a manuscript written by a fencing master in England called The Noble and Worthy Science of Defense by Joseph Swetnam. One of the phrases he uses in his manuscript that I really like is, you must do this faster than I can speak it. It all has to be done in time, and you train your body so that the separations and movement are really tiny. The bigger the pause in between actions, the more time your opponent has to respond. So it's all about minimizing those actions. So what I want to do now is a snipe at the hands. And this is, again, going to be the difference between true edge and false edge. Now, I don't have gloves on. My partner has gloves on, but they're fairly thin, so we're not going to be swinging hard at each other's hands. Well, actually, let me qualify that. I'm actually going to ask him to swing at my hands because I know it works. I want you to see it, but I don't want you to run the risk of damaging or hurting your hands until you've practiced this. And I've had my hands hit a lot, so I learned how to protect them. So if we're actually going to open up distance just a little bit. So I'm in here.
Up one, or do you want it as a drop snipe?
Lateral.
Lateral snipe? Okay.
Yeah. So that's the blow. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to give you the long one.
Okay.
So check distance again.
All right.
Yeah, so that's what's coming in. So if I do that, do it again. That's simple. I can void it. Go ahead and touch me. Yeah. There we go. So now, give me a second. When he throws that attack at my hands, I'm going to drop my hands down just like I did to avoid the action. But when I attack, I'm not going to attack with my true edge because he's going to be coming right back around. So do that again slow, launch at the hands, and then I get out of the way and come back at me. So let's do that again, nice and slow. So here he snipes, I void it, and he's coming around. He can still, no, you want to hit on this side.
Yep.
Do it again. No, you got to hit me this way.
Oh, take your quit line, okay.
Yeah,
oh,
don't get hit.
I'm leaving my arm out there. Don't do that, people.
So check measure.
Check and measure.
Cool.
Right there.
Yeah, that's the blow that's going to come in. So that's when I'm doing my true edge. Go and do that again. So I run that risk. But watch this. Do that again. If I'm trying to hit him on with my true edge, my hands stop here. I'm that far above his arms. But as soon as I rotate to my false edge, I'm making contact. So do that again. Make contact with me. Nice. He comes through. And I can catch him before he even finishes it. Now, let's do it again. But just a little bit faster.
Give you a little pop tap.
And I'm going to turn the face around just in case I mess up.
Thank you. I don't mind breaking his hand there. I just do mind breaking his swan.
All right, so check measure.
Okay.
Great. A little bit faster. Cut through.
Back in. Is that good space?
Yeah, that was good.
All right.
Do that again.
Funny bone.
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries.
Do that again.
Okay. Nice.
So I can get that in there. And if they're at distance, this is an important factor to remember. And this is true with any tool. Sword, two-handed sword, one-handed sword, lightsaber, stick, doesn't matter. If they're at distance that they're sniping your hands, it can be a gift to you as long as you're aware of that distance. Go slow. When he's sniping my hands, all I need to do is put my point straight up and down, and he misses. Go and do that again. So I have this effect of that just void right there. And the defensive action of withdrawing my elbow is also the initiation of my counterattack. Let's switch sides, please.
Yes, sir.
Nice and slow.
Okay.
There we go. Good. Check it. Nice. So that comes in. Watch my elbow. Now you'll notice that when I use my true edge, go and do it again. Nice at same speed. He misses, but look how his arms are retracted because we're moving in the same time. Well, actually, he's just a hair in front of me because he initiated the attack. But check measure.
Check and measure.
He throws that attack. I drop that down. He misses, and I turn my hand over. No, don't give it to me like that. I mean, I appreciate you making me look good, but yeah.
Pays me extra for that.
Great. So that comes in, and I've still got that. And what I haven't done yet is even move my foot. Watch what happens when I do a tuta volta. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Without even pulling my elbow back. Do it again. Then, to make sure I'm staying safe, same thing. I'm already here. You'll notice I'm rotating my blade over. Check measure.
Check and measure.
He does that action. I tuta volta. My elbow goes back, and I get that distance. Even if when I do my tuta volta, I move a little bit further forward. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Stay there.
Okay.
Okay, pull off me just a little bit. There we go. I'm well within range, aren't I? But as soon as I do this, I'm out, and look how close he is without even a secondary step, which means when he does that full tempo of that passing step, I do that eighth tempo of that, and I've completely stolen his time. So let's do that again. Check measure.
Okay, check and measure.
Great. Go for here.
The wrist?
Because I want you to swing at me,
okay.
And I don't want to break a knuckle in case I screw up.
Got it.
So
okay. You
faster.
Want faster? Okay.
We're not giving it to each other. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Do it again.
All right.
Are you pulling shy of me?
I'm not pulling shy of you. I'm trying to hit you in the wrist.
So
my goal is he doesn't move. He's going to get a solid
go slow
whack right into his wrist. This is my target. My hands aren't changing anything when I'm swinging. So when I'm striking at him, I'm doing this. I want to hit him right now, and I'm going to add the speed to it right now. Okay. And my hands are still in the same spot. And
that tuta volta will steal so much time from people that they'll never know how you hit them. That's the best part about doing footwork like this, is that the sheer surprise that it doesn't look like you moved, but you're no longer there. And what it does to people in the fight is amazing. There's nothing for me, there's nothing more satisfying than to see somebody swing at me, and behind their mask I can see their eyes go wide as they realized that just didn't work, and I didn't do anything big or expansive or time consuming, but I'm just not where they expected me to be. So there's a snipe against the hands. Now let's go back to swords and let's take a look at that. So we're in here, and our distance will be a little bit greater because these are longer distances. And I'm in woman's guard. Check measure on my hand.
Wrist shot.
That's the blow that's coming in. So I start in woman's guard. I go to falcone, and then I go to long guard. And he's just there. And let's do that again. So nice and slow. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Let me get here because I want it to be a snipe right at my wrist.
Okay.
Because this looks like we're out of distance. And here's another thing that even gives him a bit more of an advantage. He's got a longer sword than I do, extend. So he's got a longer sword than I do, and he's got longer arms than I do. So when he does that, it feels without footwork like he's out of distance.
Mm-hmm.
So no footwork.
No footwork.
And I'm perfectly safe. But one small step, do a mezzavolta. If I don't have my hands there, he's still well out of distance. But as soon as I have this target here, this becomes a target for people that are unsure, unaware, or scared of distance. Check that measure again. Nice. And then when he throws that, all I do is go to Falcone and I can follow him back. Go ahead and don't stay there.
Okay.
Once you throw, move out of the way.
Move out of the way.
Continue moving. I'm not going to move. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Great. Go ahead and do it again. And I'm in distance. And I can tie it into the time of my foot to the time of his foot. And you can see doing slow, we go back to true time versus false time. I'm still in true time. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Right. Go ahead and do that again. Because slow down.
Okay.
That moves first, then I can step forward. And we can go back and do the same thing with our tuta volta. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Great. Do it again. And now, I'll be honest, he just lightly brushed my wrist. It would have been like a paper cut. Do it again. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Good. So I want everybody to see his point is ending right there on the inside of my wrist. If this was a sharpened weapon, my hand would be gone. And I think that would distract me from the rest of my fight.
I certainly hope it would.
This blade, without heavy gear on, will break my wrist. So check measure.
There
you go. So now when I tuta volta, go ahead. Oh, that time we missed because I pulled my foot back a little bit further. Now I'm going to extend my foot on my tuta volta. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Nice. And now he's up about mid forearm and just his point is touching me, which if I leave my hand here is going to, again, be the end of my fight, probably break my arm. No, leave it there. But as soon as I go to Falcone, no, you need to leave it there. Got it?
Got it.
As soon as I go to Falcone, look at all that space between us. So as he continues down, I can follow him and make my cut to his arm or just let my body pull forward for my thrust with my true edge. Doing it with my false edge gives me a whole nother advantage. Go ahead and check measure.
Measure.
Nice. Then I can just drive it right in. So let's do that again. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Okay. And there's no way he's gonna be faster than me because my point is now leading my hands. Here, my hands are leading my point. This goes back to true time, false time. This is not bad. It's gonna happen like this because my hands are leading my point, but they're hidden behind my quillins. With a lightsaber, I don't have that benefit. So as soon as I do roll my hand over, now my point is leading my hands, and that gives me the advantage of time of hand over foot. So I want to make sure there was no more questions on that. So there is taking longsword to lightsaber with hand sniping, which is a real common thing. But now what I want to do is we'll start two-handed. And from the two-handed action, it's going to be a thrust, almost like rapier. And going back to combat theory, the circle is always going to be slower than the line. So any thrust is going to be faster than a cut that I throw, especially when he initiates the action. Because he's initiating the action, I will always be following his time. So therefore, let's say he has 3/10 of a second to perform his action because he's amazingly fast. That's 1/10 of a second to conceive of the idea, 1/10 of a second to send the neural impulse from the brain to the muscles, and 1/10 of a second to perform the action. 3/10 of a second. If I'm following him, I will always be at a minimum of 1 to 2/10 of a second behind him, because I need to see what he's doing. I need to register what it means. Then I need to create the idea of what I want my body to do. Then I send the neural impulse to my muscles. It's only then that my muscles can do whatever it is that I want them to do. So if I'm following him, I will always be behind his time. There's no getting around that. I can minimize that deficiency in my time by how my blade is moving. So if he thrusts at me, so he's going to come down and turn it into a one-handed thrust. No, left-handed even.
Okay.
Because we're way out of
yeah.
distance.
So you want that open distance point.
Yeah. So here he's got the hit on me. And look how far away from me he is. So just hold it right out in front of you. No, two-handed. So if I extend my hand, that's where he's at. So with the step, he's a long ways away from me. But as soon as he goes one-handed, now he can make the hit on me. So this is something that I need to worry about if I'm fencing against a thruster. And with lightsabers, that's often what we're going to see. So I'm going to start down lateral, but I'm going to change it just a little bit. So we're going to start with the blade lateral. Can you see the handle between my hands? What I'm going to do when I'm lateral is I'm going to bring my hands together so that my wrist is sitting on the bottom of my handle and my hands are together as I'm doing it. Then I'm going to just push my wrist underneath. And so my hands aren't moving in relation to my body. They're rotating, but they're not moving in relation. So check measure.
Okay, check and measure.
Good. I'm actually going to come just a tiny bit closer.
Okay.
There we go. Check measure.
Check and measure.
Great. Now, another thing to remember about this, when you're fencing in like the TSL or you're out playing with your friends with the lightsabers, if you're wearing protection, that's going to take your body and move it out another inch with your protective gear on. So while he's just barely touching me, now he's just barely touching me. Go ahead. With protective gear on, he's laying that into my chest. And that's a good heavy strike there. So I'm going to start here. He goes in for that. And I just push that over. Go ahead. A little bit faster.
Okay.
A little bit faster. A little bit faster. You got to go for me.
Yep.
I've got the advantage on this. What I haven't used yet is my feet. So now I'm going to add my footwork to it. Previously, we were doing a tuta volta where I was stepping across. This time I'm not going to. And the reason for that is because he's so far out of distance, he has to take a big step to get to me. If I do a tuta volta, go ahead and check measure.
Check and measure.
Great. If I do a tuta volta, I've got his arm, but all he needs to do is drop his arm, and there's nothing I can do. And no fencer that I've ever seen is going to stick their arm out and just leave it if they have training. So the 2 to Volta will get me offline, but it won't do me any good in distance and Counter-Strike because of his overall reach and how far away he is. Because he has to take that passing step to reach me, I can therefore take a passing step myself. Go ahead and check measure.
Check and measure.
Nice. So he does that action, and I'm well within reach there. Because I'm using my false edge, go real slow, real slow. There it is. Go back. Without even doing any footwork. Stop. Look where I'm making contact and how far away his blade is from me. And because it's a one-handed thrust on the bottom of his handle, that knocks him offline. I don't need a lot of force. I want you to practice this. Go ahead and recover so that you're not throwing your arms across. Because if I try to do that, not too fast, but a little more speed.
Okay.
I give him everything he needs to hit me. But if I keep it small, same speed.
Okay.
It takes him longer. And do it again. Same speed. Cut through. He's barely touching me. Do it again. Same speed. Now I've turned a target into his way because I brought myself closer to him. One of the hardest things to wrap your head around when fighting, again, with whatever the tool is, one of the hardest things to wrap your head around is I need to keep him close to me. And that's really hard to do because, as I say often at my school, homie has a sword, homie has a knife. That's scary. So because he has this tool, this tool of destruction, my natural inclination is to knock it as far away from me as possible. But once I learn how to manipulate and control myself, so I move him just enough, it makes his recovery even longer. Then once I add footwork to it, my movement, my strike on his weapon is even less. Let me show you what I mean. Let's switch sides.
Okay.
So we're at this angle here, and you're back there, and you're going to stab me. Go ahead.
Okay.
One-handed.
Checking distance.
Great. If I don't move, go ahead and do that again. Stop. That's as far as I'm moving him. But keep going forward. He's still in line with my arm. I'm only moving him to my shoulder. Same thing. And this is where we get the Inigo Montoya fight with the six-fingered man, where he gets stabbed in the arm. They actually did a superb job with that. Is he only moved it to his shoulder. That's all you need to do. Because as soon as I move my foot, same thing, check measure.
Check and measure.
Perfect. As soon as I move out, now look at that, he's right next to me. And I'm well within range. And then when I use my false edge, same thing, check measure.
Okay, check and measure.
Great. Then I've got everything I need. And you can hit them where you want. And because I'm doing from lateral across forward and across my body, so it's at this line here. This doesn't work against a cut. This is a technique for going against a thrust. Give me a descending cut. You're going to hit me, just so you know.
Okay.
If I do this, it doesn't do me any good because I need to defend up higher to move his point out of the way. But if it's a thrusting action, I can attack closer to his hands and still be safe from his weapon. If we get this into the kind of play where, bear with me on this, lightsabers are real and they have that real grabbiness, right? He throws that thrust at me and I do this, I'm now stuck to his blade for just a moment so that as I move it forward, pretend you're stuck to me.
Okay.
Look at what's happening to that. It's as if we had two sharp blades. He does that action.
Thrust?
Yes, please. And I just bind it into him. So the position of your point in your cover is different for a thrust versus a cut. I can do it one-handed. Here's how I'm going to do it one-handed. Give me the cut, please. I'm not going to move.
Okay. Checking distance here.
Yep. Now I want you to move back, and I want you to do it one-handed with your left hand.
Got it.
Because he's getting
Checking.
all that range. Right? Do it again, slow. If I come through and I try to do this, he's just going to go through me or bounce my sword off of his. So do it again. Because he's got the momentum, and he can use his momentum and his movement to deflect my counter. Because the odds of me just stopping his blade are pretty slim. However, if I use my false edge, same thing. Look how far down it travels, and I'm already lined up. So do it again.
Yep.
A little bit faster.
A little faster.
Check measure.
Check
Going for my
measure.
shoulder, not my head.
Yep.
Just in case I screw up. There we go. Now, a little bit faster.
All right.
Here's what I'm doing to get that one-handed. I'm not doing it all with my right hand. Because I'm here, I'm actually just pushing my pommel down, or the back of it. So go ahead and check measure.
Check and measure.
So what I want you to watch is my backhand. A little bit faster.
Okay.
Ah, I was too slow. I was thinking about that. Gonna do it again.
Ready?
So that gives me the ability to really get in and faster. Be able to defend myself and counterattack. When you are when are you rotating to the false edge? Was that, David, was that against the thrust or the cut? So if I'm standing here and I brought my hands together and he's cutting at me, my rotation,
One hand, two hand.
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
My rotation is actually here into my false edge from the beginning. If I'm here and he's throwing that cut at my hand, at sniping my wrist, great. Do that again. I pull down. My rotation occurs here because what I'm doing is, as I'm doing it, my elbow's coming out a little bit. And that's rotating me from my true edge to my false edge. And then I'm not striking with my dominant hand. As soon as my elbow comes out, I'm pushing the bottom part of my handle underneath.
And he's looking at the cut specifically in
Okay.
rotation work.
So go ahead and check measure on me.
Wrist shot?
Yes, please.
Okay. Check and measure.
Nice. So I'm here. Then when I add my footwork to it, a little bit faster.
Okay.
See how low I went on that one? I threw too much power into it, more than I needed. Check measure.
Checking measure.
Great. Faster. That's all I need right there. Go ahead and do that again, same speed, and recover out of it.
Yes, sir.
Either with footwork or counter strike me. What? Come this way a little bit.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Check measure.
Okay, check and measure.
Okay, so after you make that strike, I want you to not freeze there.
Got it. Okay, ready?
Ready? And I still cut his hand because I kept my sword here. One of the things I see most often with people that are using weapons like this is that, especially cutting weapons, their cuts go too far. They take them too deep. Don't cut past their elbow. There's absolutely no reason to cut lower than that unless you're using the momentum of that action to begin your next action. But that's not what we're talking about here. We are specifically talking about countercutting into an attack. And so if I'm doing that, don't cut below their elbow. Anything else is wasted time, energy, and potentially will give them a larger opening up high for their next action. So we want to make sure not to cut too low. those are the drills I want you to work on. The final thing that I want to do with you today is something that I've worked on with people over at my school, and mostly just because it looks cool. And you know, anybody can be a good fighter, but can you make it look good? That's the important part. So what I want to work on is going to be the transfer from a foregrip to a reverse grip. And what you're going to do is you're going to start with your left foot forward. To begin with, we're not going to do any footwork. You're going to cut down, and as you're cutting down, you're going to open both hands, and it just flows in your hand. When you come back up, you put your palm on your handle, and then as you continue your cut, it just rotates into your hand. I can go this way or this way. And then when you're doing it fast, so if you'll stand there, I want you to just strike my sword out of the way.
Okay.
Cool. Do it again. Strike my sword out of the way. Good. Do it again. So go ahead and do that again. Hit my sword.
Okay.
Right. Then you can get in and do other things. Again, it's a stupid little trick, but it's fun and it looks good. And you can add it to choreography or anything that you're doing, because from here, I can get it around. So let's say I throw a cut. He countercuts just to defend my sword. I go here. I see him coming back around, and I can get in and take it up. Or let's say he throws that cut. I do the same thing, and he continues it around in a circle to come back to get me. So I go there, then I can step underneath it, pommel him. You know, you can get into what you want. But the goal that I want you to work on is, as you're throwing this, about here, you open your hands, and you see how it just rotates right in my finger, right in, on my palms. Let me do it this way so you can. Now. So if you're going to go to your right side, have your left foot forward. If you're going to go to your left side, have your right foot forward. Otherwise, if I go to my right side, my leg gets in the way. Not only is that painful, it's embarrassing. How do you explain to all the other Jedi why you're missing a sword or missing a leg and he wasn't even good? So make sure you've got the correct foot forward for the action you're doing. So I want to thank all of you for joining us. It's been a pleasure working with you. Great questions. Thank you for that. I hope this helped. And we wanted to go to lightsabers today again because it's Revenge of the Fifth, and they're only bad because Jedi's won, and they make them look bad. I mean, they didn't win at the beginning, but maybe the Jedi's are
people too. Come on.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us today. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Take care of yourself and those around you. And we'll see you at the next class. All the best.